everybody, this is Kira's show here. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku, him and Katsuki, so female Bakugo, were just about to begin fighting. Now, as this is starting, Deku, he actually would begin, bringing his hands upwards and sparking on his fire. As he would see Bakugo, she would do one thing. She would immediately throw off her jacket as she is wearing a tank top. As Deku sees her spark with explosions. They're actually going up both of her arms. And actually into her hands, so she's actually gotten better control over it. I've never seen that before. That's new. Well then I just need to be on my toes a bit more then. Clearly she's been practicing something. I don't know what it is. Now, with that, these two would begin to fight. All Might saying go. As there is someone watching the battle. They just want to see what will happen. This might be fascinating to watch. Now, with that, this is when for Bakugo, she would immediately rush forward. As she's a bit faster. Now, Deku, he didn't expect this, as he would throw out his hands. Immediately shooting fire out of his hands and going backwards. Bakugo coming in his direction. He would begin walking backwards and actually doing so, actually turning the sand into glass underneath him. As she would be careful. Deku would think that she's going to have to avoid that, but right before her foot makes contact with the ground, a large explosion would form underneath her feet. Deku realizing why she's faster. She's gotten better control. Shit. Now, as Deku saw that, she would have actually come up and smashed him across the face with a large punch. As Deku, he somewhat would try coming up, countering with a kick. Her immediately grabbing his leg and dodging it. She would have dodged it and grabbed him by a piece of his clothing and proceeded to try and throw him around. Her fighting style against Deku is to go for fast grapples, and anywhere he does not have fire covering his body. While Deku, he is just quite simply trying to at least hold back. If he uses his quirk at maximum, he might cause damage. Now, these two would begin. Deku immediately trying what she's doing. He throws the fire out of his hands and actually does concentrate to be a bit more controlled, or at least refined, as he's somewhat able to create controlled beams out of his hand and maneuver around, along with being able to throw his hand up over his head and swing it out forwards underneath him, underhanding it to where his hand can turn glass, or sand into glass, and he can throw it out like spikes. As he would send waves upon waves of fire at her. Her immediately countering with her own move, smashing her hands into the sand and blowing it up. Basically causing a sandstorm, or a wave of sand to go in Deku's direction. All Might watching this and actually being impressed. These two are just getting started. Now, with that being said, they would continue. They would get up to the point where Deku, he is having trouble. Clearly, his skin is taking great difficulty, as All Might could see him turning on blue flames sometimes. For a quick burst, and then going back to regular flames. Clearly, he is not wanting to be serious. He doesn't want to hurt her too much. To which she would have gotten annoyed. She'd be able to run forward and actually kick Deku in the stomach. As she would also send another smash across his face, telling him to stop holding back. Deku somewhat getting annoyed at this, as he would bring his leg upwards, smashing it directly into her chin. As he would just say that he's holding back for his own sake. If he goes all out, he's gonna hurt his body more than he should. Anyways, as he would smash his head forwards, headbutting her, saying that she should know more about that. Don't you remember? As he would just run forward, saying that I've studied heroes. Now, All Might would actually be a bit impressed with that. If the boy studied heroes, then clearly he studied martial artists, or even possibly, well, heroes that are known among legends, or at least still known to this day, even though they died years or centuries ago. As Deku would rush forward, immediately sparking his entire body, as he covers himself in a wave of fire. Bakugo being a bit more in shock. She didn't know Deku could do this, but it's what he did next which would have thrown her for a loop. Deku just bringing his hands upwards and smashing them down into the ground. Everything underneath him turning into a glass floor, as she does try and fire herself upwards, her actually being able to do so. However, she does feel a bit of strain in her arms with that last explosion, along with one of the muscles in her legs actually cramping up. She is 500 feet, or at least possibly 200 to 300 feet, off the beach floor, so she launched herself up quite a bit. Now, that was one of the largest explosions she's ever done, and that is saying something. She actually let loose quite a bit. Too much. Now, with that being said, this is where Deku would see her. She is falling to the ground, as she goes to try and set off more explosions. She does not have enough sweat. She is able to get a spark though, as she's frantically doing one thing, trying to wipe away her head, wipe her head and at least wipe down her arms, trying to get enough sweat into one arm, or at least onto her palm to ignite, to slow herself down. Now, with that, Deku would do one thing, as he sees her falling. He would do this concentrated fire out of his palms, and hold it, as he would try jumping upwards. It's not as good as hers, but, well, he's able to get up at least 50 feet. As he would hold out his arm, and immediately throw it out forwards, as he sets off a spark. As there's a loud explosion. Deku and Bakugo being flung away from each other. Deku smashing into the, concrete and, parking lots above the beach. While the Katsuki, she slams into the ocean. And All Might would realize that this is not good. He would go to check on her since she has a bigger problem of drowning. But as soon as he makes it over to the water and begins to try and buff up, she would have immediately just come up out of the water, panting and gasping for air. As they try and find Deku. Deku, he kinda landed on someone's car. That's not good. As he would get up, he begins to try and shake off whatever happened, along with he feels blood coming down his hand. As he would try getting off the car. As soon as he does so, he actually does turn to see that it's a limousine. What the hell? As he sees someone who he hasn't seen in a while. Endeavor. Mr. Endeavor. This is odd. I expected you to train, yes, but you're being trained by All Might. Either your family pays well, or there's a reason he's training you. Well, yeah, but as Deku can hear something, Katsuki is saying that he needs to get back here. They're not done fighting. As Deku would go to run over, asking Endeavor if he's been watching this whole time. To which he would just say yes. Now, prove exactly what us flame heroes can do. You will be the best. Or, as Deku would have taken off, Endeavor not really being able to finish what he was about to say. About to say second best. Now then, with that, Deku would run down. All Might seeing Endeavor just standing there. What is he doing here? Now, before that can even continue, Deku, he would be back on the beach, as Katsuki, she would be running over to him, immediately throwing out her arm and smashing it across his face. Deku, being annoyed, he would bring up his right leg, smashing it upwards into her ribs, as she would have thrown a left hook into his. These two actually being gravely injured, or at least very well hurt. These two going for punches to the face and actually just keep going. Endeavor being a bit more confused. Why isn't he using his quirk? Now, eventually it would have gotten to the point where Deku, he would be annoyed. Since he is kind of about to lose. He feels like he's on his last leg. He is not going to lose and break that streak. Not like this. Even then, All Might said this might help me. So, I need to give it my all. As Deku would do one thing. Thinking that he can do this. Take down her, impress Endeavor, and get a power. Okay. Deku trying to calm down. He would be able to throw a punch in Akatsuki's gut and somewhat kick her away, as he would turn on his quirk, and bring it up as much as he can. This begins to hurt Deku, however, as he would smash his hands into the ground and throw fire in her direction. Although this is dangerously hot, as Katsuki, she can feel the heat of it before it even reaches her. Her eyes widening, realizing exactly what Deku just did. Now, as that happens, Deku, he would try controlling it more, amping up the heat and actually creating somewhat of a sauna around him. You can actually see the air start to actually turn into vapor. This is not good. As Deku, he would feel a bit great. However, this feeling starts to become numb. And that is quickly replaced whenever he begins to feel his skin burn. Now, as soon as that happens, he would have turned off his quirk, and immediately dropped to the ground, as he begins to scream. Whatever he just did was bad. His entire body, around his arms, and most of his torso, along with his legs, are burned. However, these are nothing like Dobby's scars, before anyone says. Deku just got second to third degree. Nothing close to what Dobby has, because I'm not even sure what to classify him. Seriously. Fucking look at this purple skin. I'm not sure how burned that is. I've seen some pretty bad burns, and I'm not sure what to do with that. But anyways. After that happens, Katsuki, she would have been a bit scared. That actually nearly fried her, along with set off another explosion. But Deku still being willing to fight. Saying that he's not giving up. Not even like this. Bringing up his hands, sparking his quirk once again as he was somewhat wincing in pain. Telling her that he's not going to lose. As this flame would somewhat just die out in his hand. Him being confused, trying to spark on his quirk. That's not... what the hell? Deku realizing what he did. He hit his physical limit. As he would finally pay attention to his body. He has burns and, well, most of his skin is either red or at least somewhat melted. So he gets it. his body has reached its maximum internal temperature, meaning his quirk, it is turning off for minutes, or at least stopping him from doing so. The body basically turning itself, going into a self-preservation. Now, with that, Katsuki, she would think that she will have the edge now. She at least has enough for a final attack. So, this can work. As she would begin running forward, somewhat with her palm ready. Deku watching this as he just brings his hands up. As she would run forward, smashing a fist into this defense. As she would have brought up her other one straight down to Deku's gut, smashing an explosion into it. Deku being sent flying. As she would have finally turned to pay attention, she sees All Might, and in the distance she sees All Might in another person. She sees Endeavor in another person. Who is that? Wait. Red and white? No, wait. That's... As she would have immediately been socked in the nose. Deku got back up. She didn't expect that. She thought she just won. As she would see Deku. Deku, most of his shirt is destroyed. Most of his arms are covered in burns. As he would just say that he's not losing. Not ever. Usually it ends in a standstill. So, as he would just bring his hand up once more. His good arm. He's not sure what happened to the other one. He thinks whatever happened, it just probably burned, or he thinks that her explosion might have caused something to his hand. Whatever the case, he cannot feel it. As she would get ready, smirking. These two running forward, proceeding to beat onto each other and actually just continue on the damage. Eventually, to the point where neither of them can really move. These two basically being slumped against one another. As they're basically just trying to flail their arms outwards and getting no success. The other usually goading each other to try and give up, because they're not going to win. Eventually, one thing would happen. Deku was able to cool down enough to at least somewhat make a little spark. Or at least a bit of fire. Him taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out, as some fire would come out of his mouth and into hers. Her immediately just moving backwards. These two were the only thing holding each other up, as she would smash into the ground. Deku actually somewhat smirking. Right before his vision goes black, and he feels himself slump to the right. Now, after that happens, this is whenever All Might would wake these two up. And they are in a strange office. Where are they? Well, you two are at UA. Wait, what? Yeah. You're... As Recover Gold woke up, saying that you two really are stupid. Hey, what? I heard you're supposed to be trying out for this school, yet you've already been in its infirmary once. That seems pretty stupid to me. However, from what I heard, your use of your quirk was a bit dangerous. As Deku looked down at his arms. The skin somewhat looks better on them, but he can still see some burns, or at least where his skin is red, as his legs are basically covered in ice packs. Recover Girl telling him that she was able to help. With her quirk, she was able to heal him too. Now, your friend there, however, she's actually pretty beaten. Exactly why are you two going so intensely? Well, As Deku would just say, they kind of declared war on each other. So, they're rivals. Really. How can you be rivals with a girl? Sounds to me like you two just might have some desperate crush. As Deku would just look at her for a second, saying that that's not how it is. They're friends. Sure, kid. And I'm not a doctor. As she would just walk away. As she walks past Endeavor, All Might's telling Endeavor to give him a minute. He needs to talk with this young man. Endeavor getting more and more annoyed, since he wants to see exactly what the fuss is about. Now, All Might would just tell Deku that he has done well. He's thought about stopping you two, but Endeavor sorta just said no. He was waiting for Endeavor to step in, but you two were a bit more intense. You need to control yourself. Yeah. Sorry. I was trying to get more serious. More serious. Young Midoriya. I'm not sure how much damage you would have caused to your body if you kept that up. But you're lucky that you stopped. Your body is durable, yes, but even it has its breaking points. You must understand that. Yes, All Might. Anyways, as Katsuki would wake up, her immediately jumping upwards and just staring at Deku. As All Might would turn his head, saying that it's good that she's finally awake. Where are we? We're at UA. So, the loser woke up first, right, All Might? As he would someone just stare at her, not saying a word. She looks at him for a second until she starts to remember things. They were guarding each other to give up. Then that strange feeling in her face. Then everything went black and painful. As the last thing she can really get vividly is her falling and seeing Deku, still standing. As her eyes would somewhat tear up. Deku's seeing that for a second, as she would just say that, it's good you won then. It just shows that I need to catch up. As she would go to stand up, being able to do so and actually walking out of the room. But Deku would have stopped her, saying that this doesn't change anything. Remember, you got me to get serious and push myself more. Her turning around. Before she can say anything, All Might would have done one thing to break up their little talk. Pulling out a piece of hair and telling Deku to eat this. What? You're supposed to absorb some of my power, or at least DNA. That's how you get the power. As Deku would just stare at this for a second. All Might is being completely serious. Now, as Deku basically does this, or eats the hair, Katsuki is laughing her ass off. She may have lost, but she wishes she could find her phone to videotape this. This is all riot. Now, with that being said, let us continue. After that happens, All Might would stand up, saying that he needs to leave. He doesn't have much time left on his, power. As he would open the door, Endeavor staring directly at him, asking him if the boy's ready to talk now. Yes, Endeavor, he is. Just don't scare the boy too much. Why? As Endeavor and Todoroki would walk in. As they make their way past Bakugo. Now, she would return to see this as she would basically just move out of the way. Endeavor walking forward, saying that it is nice to see you again, young man. You're Izuku Midoriya, correct? Yes, Endeavor. I'm kind of. I'm, boy, calm down. Yeah, I'm kind of just nervous. Well, you shouldn't be. I saw most of the fights, and it was impressive. However, I think the best part was whenever you smashed onto my limousine. Oh, sorry about that. Well, don't be. Not many people, or normal people, can get up after that. That's tricky. Even I had difficulty like that one time. Is he actually giving me praise? As Todoroki would finally speak up, she would begin to say that that's kind of weird. He doesn't normally take an interest in someone with a quirk, or at least, usually people in general. He usually just worries about himself, as he would stare at this girl for a second. She has half white hair and half red hair. So exactly what is going on? As she would just state that you have a similar quirk to my brother's, correct? Yeah, so? So anyways, I kinda wanted to see it for myself. And see if there was any way we can help him. Or is someone just looking away from this? Or looking away from him? As Deku would just ask where her brother is now. Her saying that they don't know. Last time she saw him, he kinda just took off. But I have a question. What are your parents' quirks? My parents' quirks? Well, my dad's is fire breath, and my mom's is telekinesis, or, well, fourth generation telekinesis. That's it? Yeah, why? Deku, someone just staring at her. She would just ask him if there's any weakness to ice, or if he's weak to fire. Deku just saying no, not really. Which would somewhat make her a bit mad. So, there's really nothing they can do then. Aside from trying to get a doctor to research Deku. If they can find a way to help Toya, then this will be better. Deku's somewhat just getting up, saying that he's glad to meet him again, but he does need to get home and call his mom. Him looking at his cell phone. He has about 17 missed calls, and knows he is dead. As he would just call, and begin to try and find an exit. Endeavor, he somewhat is confused. If All Might is training that boy, then clearly he has some endgame. Todoroki, do you mind? I'm not gonna do that. Why? I'm not gonna spy on that guy. Not for you. Well, I'm not sure what you mean. You want me to spy on him, see what he's doing with All Might, yada yada yada. Isn't that it? Well, no, actually, I just wanted you to see what his quirk was or how he uses it. I don't care. As she would just walk out of the room, and never being annoyed. Now, with that being said, Deku, he would leave, finally finding the front door, as Katsuki was waiting for him, asking exactly what that was. Deku just saying that that was weird, but he should have expected it one day. What happened? Well, as Deku gave the explanation, the two walking home from UA, somewhat laughing a bit about this. They're not even in the school yet, and they've already been there. So it's actually pretty cool. Now then, that is going to be where I leave this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing night.